It's all covered in today's China Truths.
我其实混得
I'm not doing well. Please just help me with a little money. At this age, what else can I do? I try to survive, planting soybeans to sell, managing life the best I can. But people keep asking, where are his children? Let me tell you, if this old man had a pension of 17,000 yuan a month, he wouldn't need anyone to speak up for him. He'd be treated like a treasure because every day he could create 166 yuan of income for his kids. But the truth is harsh. He's just a rural old man, living on a subsidy barely over 100 yuan. Forgotten, invisible. On August 31st, 2025, I was laid off. My company had 2,700 employees, 60 billion yuan in annual revenue, and yet I was cut. I thought I'd found stability, a place to work until retirement, but this is my reality. Today is my last day. My landlord kindly returned my deposit. Tomorrow I'll sell my e-bike. In a few days I'll leave for Hangzhou, find a cheap place, search for a new job and start all over again. The adult world is brutal. Making money feels impossible. In big cities like Shenzhen, Shanghai, and Guangzhou, countless unemployed migrant workers are sleeping on the streets, in bus stations, even by cesspools. They can't even afford food, so how could they ever afford rent? China's economy is collapsing into misery. The poor are barely surviving day by day, and soon even the middle class will be crying. Do you remember when they said 10 hours of sleep was best? Then 9, then 8, now it's 7. Soon they'll say 6, maybe even 5. Step by step, the message becomes clear. Humans don't need to sleep at all. That's how far things have gone. And yet, Peking University professor Jia Qingguo insists that China must solve the employment problem of foreign students. Foreign students? What about our own youth, struggling with unemployment, losing jobs every day? Are you blind? Deaf? You dare to speak for foreigners while ignoring your own people? If you care so much about them, Professor Jia, maybe go to Africa and stay there permanently. Meanwhile, look at Shazhou East Road. The shops, the businesses. How can the real economy survive? In Dongguan, the cement pavilion has become a shelter for the jobless. Migrant workers, unable to pay rent, gather here. The place is full of trash, yet even young women are forced to stay. They wait, hoping to find work, then move out. Until then, this is home. But is it safe? Think of the construction workers, 11 years without going home. Spring Festival is their only holiday. They miss their parents, their wives, their children. But what choice do they have? Labor Day means nothing to them. They keep building, keep working, just to survive. This is the face of today's China. The forgotten, the laid off, the homeless, the unheard voices. Their stories deserve to be told. Ordinary people today don't believe in anything anymore. Experts throw out endless data, but people are numb. Lately, pensions are the hot topic. But tell me, who actually has one? Farmers? Of course not. And what about children? 30 years ago, you weren't even allowed to have more. If you did, the fines could crush you. Even at 7 or 8 months pregnant, they forced abortions. The slogan back then? Want to be rich? Build roads, have fewer kids, plant trees. But now they push childbirth. Is it always up to them to decide? Without money, how can people afford kids? And even if they're born, how do you raise them? Should the poor really carry this burden? In many small cities, the average salary is only 3,000 yuan, while education and housing costs are sky high. The more poor families give birth, the poorer they become. Marriage, housing, and debt already crush households, and yet they still push for 3 children. But how can birth rates rise when people can't even afford to marry? The average marriage age is now 30-34, not because people don't want it, but because many simply can't afford it. If you want higher birth rates, you must first solve income and time pressures. Even with 2 people working, raising 1 child is nearly impossible. The core problem is money. Many capable people have no opportunities, no connections, no platform for their skills. Shouting slogans won't help. It's like telling a starving man to eat more. Just the other day, I worked a full shift in a spicy snack factory. Do you know what they paid me? From 6:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. with only 10 minutes for lunch? packing spicy sticks. Each tower of 200 small bags? 8 yuan. I packed 10.5 towers, 100 bags. At the end of the day, my body was broken. My pay? 84 yuan. 12 hours, 84 yuan. My God, is Guangzhou's job market really this brutal? My friend in Guangzhou has been job hunting for a month with no luck. He's preparing for a transfer exam. He just finished junior year at Guangzhou Business College, about to start his senior internship. And yet, life in big cities feels unbearable, even with a bachelor's degree. Sometimes associate degree holders find work faster. Civil engineers are collapsing under pressure. I thought my company was safe, until yesterday, when they announced they couldn't even pay salaries anymore. 7 years of study, bachelor's plus master's, and this is the nightmare reality after graduation. Honestly, brothers, now I believe what people online are saying. If you haven't entered this industry yet, run, before it destroys you too. Do you know which country works the longest hours in the world? The OECD says it's Mexico, with 2,128 hours a year. Sounds like a lot, right? But break it down. Only 177 hours a month, about 6.8 hours a day. Now compare that to China's 996 or even 007 culture, 12 hours a day, weekends included. Our working hours may have already surpassed the world's #1, maybe even the universe's #1. 7 hours a day? That's a luxury job compared to here. In China, people don't live. They just endure until retirement. From youth, life is already chained to preparing for old age. But if aging and death are inevitable, why not live better now? Now look at the economy. It's 7:30 p.m., and restaurants are still setting up stalls. By 7:35, even big hotels are hawking food in the streets without lights on. My God, what does that say? If hotels are struggling like this, how bad is it really? So please, as the new year comes, be careful with your money. If you can avoid risk, avoid it. Every bit of cash matters. I'm heading to deliver food now.
It's all covered in today's China Truths.
I'm sorry to have to say goodbye to everyone this way. The restaurant I vowed to open with such confidence can no longer be sustained. 3 months ago, many netizens advised me against opening a restaurant, but I was determined to proceed. This restaurant truly isn't for me, and I'm closing it. We're closing. Starting today, we're truly closing. We borrowed 1 million yuan here and there, and within 3 years, we've lost it all. Yes, we're closing. After over 2 years of tireless effort, we've finally shut down. This year's business is out of reach for those with impulsive minds, heart problems, high blood pressure, sleep problems, the young and the elderly. It's simply too difficult for anyone. One blogger commented that Shanghai is truly struggling, with brick-and-mortar stores everywhere closing and selling off at a loss. On the streets of Chinese cities, once bustling restaurants are now deserted, shopping malls are sparsely populated, and the passion for consumption has seemingly vanished overnight. Under the shadow of the economic downturn, not spending is becoming a collective choice among the public. A Guangxi barbecue stall owner said, "Business is really bad this year. I couldn't even afford to pay a single employee. 90% of the shops have closed down." This blogger is a barbecue restaurant owner in Ningbo. His restaurant, called Ding Ding Legendary BBQ, suffered a continuous downturn due to the Chinese economic slowdown, ultimately resulting in losses of 9 million yuan. His restaurant was not immune to the nationwide wave of restaurant closures and officially closed on September 20th. I received shocking news today. I heard the closure rate for brick-and-mortar stores in Guangzhou is as high as 80%. What does that mean? It means 8 out of 10 stores are struggling, and many are already in dire straits. Every day, store owners wait anxiously inside, waiting for customers, but few come in. When a customer finally sees something they like, they turn around and compare prices online or with their competitors. Brick-and-mortar retailers are locked in a price war, which is having a devastating impact on physical stores. This owner previously opened a restaurant but had to close after 11 months. She said all the equipment has been taken away by second-hand dealers. This was her first entrepreneurial venture, and it ended in failure. Since it was her first time in the restaurant industry and she didn't know much, she opted to join a franchise. She's thankful she chose a light asset investment when she first opened her business. If she had invested 500,000 to 600,000 yuan, she can't imagine the losses she would have suffered. This clothing store owner is also preparing to close. She rented a shop in Hangzhou's Sijiking wholesale market in 2017, and now it's officially closed, a full 8 years later. When I first arrived at Sijiking in 2017, my first job was as a board model. Back then, I was earning a single salary, but I took on several tasks on my own initiative. I did everything my boss asked me to do, and even when he didn't, I took the initiative. My salary increased dramatically, and before long, I was making 1,000,000 yuan a year. I'd be at the CG King store at 4 a.m. every day. It was tiring, but fulfilling. During the most challenging year of the pandemic, I opened my own shop. It was a small 10 square meter shop with 5 or 6 employees, and within a year I made, yes, 30 million yuan. As business continued to grow, the stall expanded annually, from a team of 5 or 6 to a larger team of 20, 30. However, my expenses and costs also increased, and the burden grew heavier. The blogger said, "The clothing industry has been declining over the past 2 years. I felt a bit overwhelmed, as if I had completely lost the right to rest. The pressure of working non-stop made me breathless, and I even live-streamed on New Year's Eve." After the Lunar New Year, she sent her 1-month-old daughter back to her hometown. Every night, she couldn't help crying when she thought of her daughter. After much deliberation, she decided to close her shop. She said closing didn't mean stopping, but rather adjusting her pace so she could be in better shape to meet everyone. In September of this year, my shop experienced a historic decline in performance. We used to make around 10,000 yuan a day, but this month's average is only around 7,000 yuan. Compared to last month's and this year's average, our monthly sales have dropped by at least 30%. As you know, shops like ours operate online very regularly, with monthly traffic, a sufficient number of short videos, and a sufficient number of high-quality live streams. The blogger explained that despite their aggressive promotional efforts, September turned out to be their worst month of the year, a precipitous drop in sales that everyone found baffling and frustrating. "This is the women's shoe and apparel store I spent over 200,000 yen to open, and it hasn't even been open for 3 days. Hey everyone, how's your business been going lately? I'm about to collapse. Business has been incredibly tough these past few years, but I've managed to persevere over the past 2. I even sold tens of thousands of dollars in May, but to my surprise, business suddenly fizzled out in June. I just did the math. It's the 11th, and I've only sold less than 10,000 yuan, barely enough to cover the rent. Now only regular customers come in every day, browsing and trying on clothes, but they don't buy anything. New customers are practically non-existent." The blogger explained that she not only posts videos introducing her products on Douyin, but also posts 10 to 20 messages daily on WeChat Moments, yet no customers are coming into the store to buy anything. The investment in the clothing business is tens or even hundreds of thousands of yuan, but then the store is closed for days on end. Does anyone understand the anxiety this creates? Getting new stock costs money, rent costs money, employee salaries cost money, and shipping costs for incoming goods are all significant expenses. She calculated that her shop now had nearly 200,000 yuan worth of merchandise. The first half of 2025 was almost over, and she still had nothing left. After 5 years of perseverance, this restaurant owner finally decided to close her business to cut her losses. She explained that she had opened a hot pot restaurant in Shuqing, Tianji on February 13, 2020. However, due to the pandemic, many businesses in the mall vacated the market, leaving only hers. Although her restaurant was well loved by customers, it was still difficult for her to stay afloat in that environment. She later moved the hot pot restaurant to Wanda Plaza, and some of her old customers followed. She was hopeful, thinking she could finally turn things around, but reality was harsh. Her expenses still exceeded her income. Why are so many shops closing down on the street? Because now when people buy something, they just click their finger and the money goes to those big platforms in a second, leaving the local businesses virtually untouched. Add to that the hype of influential influencers, and one person can steal the business of thousands of stores, leaving street vendors with no chance of survival. Online sales are booming, and the profits are piling in. Offline shop owners can only sit there, waiting to sell, only to have another owner take over and continue to lose money, all while feeling they failed to manage their business as well. The blogger said that if this pattern continues, ordinary people's money will be spent online, and brick-and-mortar businesses will only become increasingly difficult to maintain. In Guangzhou, the collapse of small shops and restaurants has become a daily reality, with empty storefronts lining streets that were once full of life. But this crisis is not confined to Guangzhou alone. From Beijing to Shanghai, business owners are shutting down after years of fighting a losing battle against rising rents, falling sales, and the unstoppable rise of online platforms. The sound of metal shutters slamming shut has become the background noise of China's urban economy. Every week, countless families are forced to walk away from their dreams, leaving behind unpaid loans and broken hopes. The streets that once symbolized prosperity are now ghostly reminders of what was lost. Guangzhou is only the beginning of this larger unraveling. The same story plays out across China's biggest cities, Shenzhen, Chengdu, Wuhan, once hailed as the engines of growth, now filled with bankruptcies and desperate business owners. Shopping malls are half empty, restaurants are closing overnight, and even long-established family businesses are vanishing without a trace. The domino effect is spreading fast. One failed shop means suppliers, employees, and landlords all suffer. Social media is filled with cries of despair from people who invested their savings only to lose everything. This wave of collapse is more than an economic downturn. It's the fading heartbeat of urban China. The unraveling of Guangzhou mirrors the unraveling of a nation's fragile economy. China's economy is no longer standing on solid ground. The wave of bankruptcies, mass layoffs, and collapsing consumption shows a system that is rapidly unraveling. Once prosperous cities now struggle with empty streets, shuttered shops, and homeless workers. The middle class, once filled with hope, is sliding into despair and uncertainty. All signs point to a nation facing its deepest economic downfall in decades.
It's all covered in today's China Truths.